With the announcement of Season 5 for Cold War, us Zombies players really don't get to expect too much. And I mean, the only major thing happening is that we're getting a brand new perk being Depth Perception, which has not gone over well for most people. So because of that, people aren't feeling too vibey with Cold War zombies. But I thought we'd do a little way to kind of, I guess, bring back the mood and remind everybody that Cold War zombies is actually still good. And how I want to do that is go over my 7 favorite features in Cold War zombies. And really, these features are probably just going to end up becoming staples for zombies going forward. And these will vary from different things inside the game, whether it be settings or just features or whatever it may be. We're not going to focus on any like directly connected to maps thing, because I want to look at overall features of zombies and talk about those things specifically. But with all that said, let's get into the first one I want to talk about, and this one is probably the not as crazy as everything else, but I still love it nonetheless, and this is tap to interact. This is something that is just so nice, because if anybody has played zombies on PC before Cold War, you would know that you don't actually have to hold square or even hold F to interact with things. If you want to spin the mystery box, you just tap F. If you want to open a door, just tap F. And that was so nice. But when it came to controller, you always had to hold square or X, whatever console you were playing on, which it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's just like annoying enough to me personally. And with the addition of the tap to interact, it's just so nice that I don't have to hold to do anything. And I know this is the smallest thing on this list out of everything, but it's such a nice, I guess, there's a quality of life change right here. It's just so nice, and I absolutely love this feature. And because of that, I had to include it on the list because I just love this feature so effing much. You guys may not think it should be on this list, but I definitely do, because I just like things that make my experience easier. Now, moving on to the next one. This one is one that I wasn't sure if I wanted to include on the list or not, but I decided to add it anyways, and these are the created class or the class system inside Cold War Zombies. This, of course, is where you choose your gun right as you spawn with the attachments you want, and then also a field upgrade. Now, we'll ignore the field upgrades for now, but if we focus on at least just the gun itself, at first I hated this feature because it felt like we were kind of doing what BO4 did, except even worse. And what that was is that you start with a pretty powerful gun that you don't really need to worry about like getting another gun until pretty high rounds. And in BO4, this would stretch up until round 7 or something like that. But then this one came around and you could spawn in with a gallo that could easily take you into round 11, 12, 13, right? And this seemed kind of annoying, and that is still a problem in my opinion, because I still do prefer, you know, starting with absolutely nothing and then you slowly building your way. But the reason why it made it to this list is because of another feature that it just complements so well, and this of course is Dark Ether camo. And I know most people aren't really going to, I guess, be grinding for Dark Ether, but for the people that do, it is such a godsend being able to select the gun that you want to work on at the start of your game, because in BO4, the thought of grinding Dark Ether or Dark Matter, whatever it was called in that game, never crossed my mind, because one, the challenges were super stupid unlike this game, but then on top of that, like, you couldn't even get the guns. Like, the only way to get the guns that you wanted to work on, if you wanted to get a gun gold, you rather had to hope it was a wall buy or that you had to just spin the mystery box until you got it, and that was just stupid. It was just dumb, and because of that, almost nobody went for Dark Ether in that game, or Dark Matter, whatever it was called. And being able to select your gun right as you spawn is an absolute godsend for the Dark Ether grind, and because of that, and solely because of that, is the reason why I like it so much. And maybe it's not because of the feature itself, because overall I don't like the feature, but because I do like grinding for Dark Ether so much in this game, it kind of made it add itself into this. So I guess you can combine this into two things: the Dark Ether grind and also being able to select a class, because if you just have one without the other, it's pretty bad, you know. It's just pretty bad. I overall hate both of those things, because imagine having to spin the mystery box in order to get the gun that you want to work on. That's just not something I want to deal with. So really, this is a combination between Dark Ether Grind and the classes at the heart of this thing, and why I like it so much. The next one is one that people, I'm not sure if you will agree with me for it being on this list, kind of similar to tap to interact, but this is also another, I guess, settings, and this is auto sprint. And of course, people who play BO4 would know that BO4 already had auto sprint. Well, this auto sprint is actually different, because in the past of zombies, how it used to work is that, and really Call of Duty up until this point, and I think maybe Modern Warfare was the first one that did this, but this is the first time it's in zombies, you would actually have tap in the past, you would literally have to click R3 or L3, whatever it is, to sprint. And that's something I really didn't like for multiple different reasons, especially if you're playing for long periods of time. It just tires out your thumbs. And because of that, I never even thought of training to get to high rounds before Cold War, because my thumb, I'm just constantly clicking L3 the entire time, and it's just like so annoying. And then more importantly, and the real reason why it's on this, because F my thumb and its health, and it's probably going to get arthritis for all the years that I spent clicking R3 in zombies or in Call of Duty as a whole. But the main reason I like it so much is because I had a problem for so many years, going back all the way to the PS3 when I first started playing Call of Duty, that every single one of my effing controllers would break because the amount of times I would have to click L3. My L3 was always effing broken. No joke, this ugly little scuff over here, I paid a ton of money for this, and it's pretty much messed up. I mean, it still works, but it's still messed up, the L3. And that's just something that I think is so stupid. And the fact that this is literally controller saving, I think it requires to be on this list, because the amount of controllers that I probably would have gone through without this feature is just insane. And because of that, I really do like this feature, and I believe it belongs on this list. But now let's get into some more, I guess, substantial and way more important features. And the first one I want to talk about is the ability to mantle in zombies. Oh my gosh, I don't know how it's taken this long for it to happen, and for some reason I don't know how I haven't asked for this in the past, because the ability to mantle is just amazing. It just lets you get around the map more freely. You don't have to follow these set paths, and you don't have to look at something that you think that, hey, in real life I could easily jump over that, and then you know, you just can't do that in previous zombies games. You just have to go this big old lap around it. And this ability to mantle is just great. I love it so very much. It makes the gameplay just so much smoother. You can get around the map much more easier. And also, it could be life-saving a lot. Like, how many times have you been cornered and then you just turn around and say, hey, I can mantle here, and just mantle over, you're safe. And because of that, I think that nobody can really argue with the mantling feature in zombies. I think it is one of the best things that happen, and I don't know how we haven't asked for this. And I said it was just me, but it's literally everybody. How haven't we asked for this feature before? Because it just makes the game play smoother. It's just better in terms of surviving, and it's easier to get out of corners that at least let you mantle over them. And because of that, I think that this is going to become a staple in zombies going forward for every zombies that we get from here going forward, and that's how great of a feature it really is. Now, I actually didn't know if I should where exactly I should put this one, because I guess technically this is also a settings thing, but it's just so nice. And of course, what I'm talking about here is the FOV slider. The FOV slider is just the best thing ever. I mean, I know PC players have had the FOV slider this entire time. You know, congratulations for you guys. Here's a clap. But for console players, it's just sucked. Like, you used to be so zoomed up on your gun, and you couldn't really be aware of your space around you, because all you could see was a tiny little window like this. Whereas if you had a, you know, FOV slider, you could see all of this. You know, it's like really tunnel vision compared to what it is now. And this has made everybody who uses it to go up to a higher FOV a better zombies player, because you're just more aware of your surroundings. You could see a zombie at your left more easy, at your right, at the edge of your visions much more easy. You just generally get a better idea of the environment around you. You just generally see more. It also just makes it feel smoother. You feel like you're faster, and it's just like so good in so many different ways that I honestly don't know how I used to play so many video games before this without an FOV slider, and it's honestly insane because I went back to BO3. I mean, I didn't really go back, but I just opened it up to get some gameplay for a video and never uploaded, but I was running around in it. I'm like, why does it feel so clunky? And honestly, I think it's solely because of the FOV slider, because I then after that went and played BO3 on PC, which has an FOV slider, and it didn't feel clunky anymore. And I'm all like, wait, is it actually just that? The FOV slider just makes the game feel smoother? And sure enough, that's it. And because of that, I think this is another one of those features that is going to become a staple for not only PC, but consoles going forward. And not only just for zombies, I think it's also going to be in multiplayer going forward, because there is the FOV slider multiplayer in Cold War also. But now we start to get into the big ones, and this is a feature that is another just godsend, and I just don't know why it's taken this long for it to happen, because I've been saying this is one thing I've been preaching for years up until this point, and I'm just happy it's finally happened. And this is just getting rid of the perk limit. Like, why was that a thing? I honestly hated the perk limit so much. And like, for people who didn't really play, I guess, anything that didn't have a perk limit before this, you wouldn't really know how nice it is without it until Cold War, or if you played custom zombies. But anybody who has been solely stuck to that perk limit, not using gobblegums or something like that, or anything like that, and you just came to Cold War and now you don't have a perk limit anymore, you guys just know how much better this is. And I don't think there's a million people who will disagree that this is just one of the best things that Cold War zombies did, but it's just so nice just to be buying all the perks. I mean, I remember when I would play custom zombies on BO3 and just buy every perk in the game, and even the custom perks or the old perks that they had, it just felt so cool having all the perks at the bottom of your screen. You see all those perks lined up, and it was just so nice. And I just always thought, like, oh my gosh, can we just not have a perk limit in zombies? And thankfully in Cold War, and I remember when they announced this, I was so effing hyped when I saw there wasn't going to be a perk limit anymore. It's just so cool, dude. This, again, is one of those things that I believe is going to be a staple for Call of Duty Zombies going forward, because it's just something that should have happened, honestly, years ago. But what could actually top the removal of the perk limit? Well, it's actually something that really doesn't affect you in-game, but it really does affect your wallet. And what I mean by that is post-launch maps. You don't have to pay them for them anymore. You don't have to buy DLC, you don't have to buy a season pass, they're all free. And this is one of the best things ever. And I kind of was going to split this into two different things, but I thought it would just fit to combine this here, because the fact that all the maps are free is great. But on top of that, we no longer have console exclusivity, or I guess temporary exclusivity, because as you guys know, up until this point, it was rather PlayStation got the map early, whether it be a week or a month, or even before that, it was Xbox got the map early a month before. And the removal of any exclusivity, and also the removal of having to pay for anything, is such a godsend. And I don't think people give Call of Duty as a game mode enough credit for this, or maybe not game mode, but as a game, I should say, enough credit for this, because you don't have to pay for anything post-launch in terms of maps at all, like for multiplayer or zombies, and that's just amazing by itself. But it's just something that I think you could appreciate even more in zombies, because you see, like, the content that people got during Modern Warfare season. Yeah, you got a bunch of free multiplayer maps, but this time around, people don't give Treyarch enough credit for this. Like, they're giving free multiplayer and full-blown zombies maps. And yeah, some of those maps haven't been the greatest, and obviously one of those DLCs was Outbreak, which I get was reused content, but you know, we do see that, you know, there's sometimes that the map just doesn't lose quality when they are free, because we also got Mauer der Toten, a very high quality map. And because of that, I think that this feature alone is probably the best thing that's ever happened to zombies, period. But that's about it for this video. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this list that I made here. And what do you guys think about these features? Is there something I've left out? Maybe you disagree with something or anything like that. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions of Cold War Zombies as a game mode down in the comment section. But regardless, that's going to be it for me. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely do all the normal YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, bell, share, and all that great stuff. But I'm going to go. I'll catch you guys next stream, video, or whatever the heck it may be. And later, guys.